Have you ever wondered what happens when the spotlight fades, the applause dims, and the millions earned under bright Hollywood lights suddenly slip through a celebrity's fingers? How could someone who once stood atop the entertainment world, admired and envied by millions, find themselves struggling to hold on to their last few dollars and their dignity? Today we're delving into the extraordinary and often tumultuous lives of stars who once had it all: glamour, fortune, unshakable fame, only to come crashing down to near financial ruin. Their stories are layered with artistic triumphs, shocking mismanagement, ill-fated choices, and the relentless pressure of public scrutiny. But what's most fascinating is how they pick up the pieces, fight back against the odds, and sometimes find entirely new paths forward. Before we start, here's a quick overview. In the next few minutes, we'll explore a group of celebrities, actors, singers, athletes, who soared to breathtaking heights and then plunged into financial chaos. From Hollywood heavyweights to musical icons, from star athletes to legendary broadcasters, their journeys will unfold one by one, revealing the complexity behind the headlines. Whether it's Nicolas Cage's eccentric spending, MC Hammer's extravagant lifestyle, or Toni Braxton's repeated financial pitfalls, each story holds clues to the volatile nature of fame. Stick with us, because by the end, you'll understand that success in show business is rarely straightforward, and losing everything can happen in a flash. But resilience can sometimes shine brightest in the dark. Now let's plunge deeper into these riveting sagas. Imagine you're watching Nicolas Cage, an actor who once earned massive salaries and starred in some of the biggest films of our time. Nicolas Cage, born on January 7th, 1964, in Long Beach, California, broke into stardom in the 1980s, wowing audiences in Raising Arizona, 1987, and Moonstruck, 1987. He became known for portraying a wide range of characters, balancing comedic roles, heartfelt dramas, and high-octane action flicks. That versatility earned him not just acclaim, but also staggering paychecks. One of his most renowned performances, Leaving Las Vegas, 1995, secured him an Academy Award for Best Actor. His name once signaled cinematic prestige and box office gold. Yet amid the glory of Hollywood fame, Cage developed an appetite for eccentric and lavish purchases, exotic cars, rare comic books, an infamous collection of castles and mansions, even a dinosaur skull. His spending was the stuff of legend, so legendary that when the 2008 financial crisis hit and the IRS came knocking, Cage's once impenetrable fortune began to crumble. His headlines shifted from artistic triumph to his urgent need to repay debts, sell off extravagant properties, and pick roles to help him stay afloat. In 2023, at 59 years old, Cage remains a figure of resilience, continuing to act in a broad array of films, blockbusters, indie projects, and everything in between. His journey stands as a reminder that financial stability, even for those at the top, requires careful stewardship. And yet, despite setbacks, Cage continues working, not just as an actor, but a producer and director, reflecting a relentless commitment to his craft. What drives a man like Cage to keep going after stumbling so dramatically? Perhaps it's the love of acting, or maybe the desire to rebuild a legacy that once sparkled so brilliantly. His longevity suggests a kind of quiet endurance hidden beneath the Hollywood veneer. Then take MC Hammer, known offstage as Stanley Kirk Burrell, born on March 30th, 1962, in Oakland, California. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, the world couldn't get enough of his flashy dance moves, iconic "You Can't Touch This" hammer pants, and chart-topping hits like "You Can't Touch This" and "Too Legit to Quit." His album, Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em, 1990, became one of the best-selling rap albums of all time, catapulting him into a realm of stardom few artists could dream of. He lived large, employing an entourage, living in a mansion that rivaled any A-lister's abode, and spending like his success would never end. But the tide changed. His unchecked extravagance and poor financial management led him straight into bankruptcy in the early 90s. The downfall of MC Hammer became a cautionary tale in entertainment. The importance of good advice, the perils of too many dependents on the payroll, the harsh reality that trends shift quickly, and if you don't plan for tomorrow, today's riches will vanish. Yet Hammer refused to vanish from public life entirely. He ventured into music production, appeared in reality TV, and even dabbled in tech entrepreneurship. At 61, he remains a figure respected for his early contributions to hip-hop and dance culture. The man who once lost nearly everything stands as living proof that it's possible to reinvent oneself. Hammer's story invites viewers to reflect. What does it take to persist after losing millions before the eyes of an unforgiving public? Consider Toni Braxton, born on October 7, 1967, in Severn, Maryland. With her deep, emotive voice, she captured the 90s R&B and soul landscape, gifting the world with hits like Unbreak My Heart and Breathe Again. Her self-titled debut album in 1993 raked in multiple Grammys, ensuring her place as an R&B icon. However, her career arc was not a smooth one. Financial troubles found her not just once but multiple times with recurring bouts of bankruptcy. Court battles over contracts and royalties hinted at systematic failures within the music industry. Artists sometimes found themselves trapped in unfavorable deals, shocking to fans who had always assumed a star's wealth was as stable as their fame. Braxton's health also challenged her stability. Her battle with lupus introduced a layer of personal struggle that complicated her financial woes. Yet she persevered, continuing to release albums, even securing new audiences on reality TV. At 56, Braxton remains a respected musical figure. Her story gives insight into the hidden machinery of the music business, reminding us that talent and chart-topping hits don't automatically guarantee financial security. It's a world where a wrong contract clause can undo years of hard work. Think of Burt Reynolds, born on February 11, 1936 in Lansing, Michigan. He soared as a Hollywood icon in the 1970s and 80s, the era that adored his trademark mustache, charming grin, and charismatic on-screen swagger. From Deliverance, 1972, to Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, he dominated box offices and even earned an Academy Award nomination for Boogie Nights, 1997. Once among the highest-paid actors, Reynolds had it all, until financial troubles and poor investments caught up with him in the 1990s. He faced expensive divorces, failed businesses, and costly personal choices. By the time he passed away on September 6, 2018, at 82, the world remembered him fondly as a cinematic legend. Yet few could forget how dramatically his fortune had faded over time. His story underlines that even a top star with countless hit films can be vulnerable when the money game is mismanaged. It's a stark warning to modern celebrities. Fame won't safeguard you from the consequences of reckless decisions. Then there's Dennis Rodman, born May 13, 1961, in Trenton, New Jersey. In the world of professional basketball, Rodman was a defensive virtuoso and a rebounding genius. Starring in the NBA during the late 80s and 90s, he contributed to the dominance of the Detroit Pistons, and later joined Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, helping them secure multiple championships. Off the court, Rodman was as colorful as the tattoos on his body, outlandish hairstyles, piercings, and controversial friendships, including one with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, made him a magnet for media frenzy. Despite sky-high earnings and athletic glory, Rodman's personal life was often tumultuous, and financial troubles found a way into his narrative. At 62, Rodman's legacy is secure as one of basketball's most fearless players, but he's also known as a figure who brushed close to losing it all. For the viewer, Rodman's journey represents the challenge of managing newfound wealth, the perils of expensive habits, and the difficulty of keeping one's finances in check amidst a life spent in the spotlight. Kim Basinger, born December 8, 1953 in Athens, Georgia, rose from a successful modeling career to Hollywood stardom with roles in 9½ Weeks, 1986, and Batman, 1989. Her Academy Award for L.A. Confidential, 1997, confirmed that she was more than a pretty face. She was an actress of great depth, but fame and fortune proved fragile. In the late 1990s, Basinger faced a highly publicized bankruptcy after making a controversial investment in a small Georgia town, Brazelton, which turned sour and cost her millions. Imagine the public's surprise. This glamorous star, who once commanded top dollar in Hollywood, struggling to recover financially. At 70, she remains a respected figure, known for her talent and her advocacy for animal rights. Her financial stumble feels like a parable about the unpredictability of business ventures, even for someone accustomed to success. Gary Coleman, born on February 8, 1968, in Zion, Illinois, skyrocketed to fame as a child star on Different Strokes, 1978 to 1986. His catchphrase, "What you talking about, Willis?" He became part of pop culture history. Yet behind the scenes, Coleman faced brutal financial mismanagement, allegedly at the hands of his parents and advisors. Legal battles drained his earnings. He struggled to find new acting roles once he grew out of his cherubic childhood image. When he passed away on May 28, 2010, at age 42, from an intracranial hemorrhage, he left a legacy both triumphant and tragic. Child stardom remains a double-edged sword. Wealth and attention come too early to be handled responsibly, and those entrusted to safeguard a child's interests don't always act benevolently. Coleman's life story forces us to question, how can we better protect young talent? Pamela Anderson, born on July 1, 1967 in Ladysmith, British Columbia, Canada, shot to international fame through Baywatch in the 90s. Her iconic role as C.J. Parker and her numerous Playboy covers sealed her image as a global sex symbol. Yet Anderson's career weathered storms. She faced financial challenges, took part in reality television, became a spokesperson for animal rights, and remained constantly in the public eye, often not for her professional work, but for her personal relationships and activism. At 56, she's an emblem of reinvention, juggling acting, activism, and personal branding to remain relevant. Anderson's journey teaches us that financial troubles can come unexpectedly, but so can opportunities for public reinvention. Stephen Baldwin, born on May 12, 1966, in Massapequa, New York, is part of the Baldwin acting dynasty. His breakthrough came with The Usual Suspects, 1995, and Biodome, 1996. But as time went on, mainstream roles grew scarce and financial woes crept into his life. He ventured into reality TV and became outspoken about his Christian faith and conservative views, positions that drew both admiration and criticism. At 57, Baldwin stands as a reminder that fame within a dynastic Hollywood family doesn't guarantee lasting financial stability. Instead, the journey is unpredictable, and careful career management matters as much as raw talent. Chris Tucker, born on August 31st, 1971, in Atlanta, Georgia, rose to prominence in the 1990s, charming audiences with roles in the Friday series and as Detective James Carter in the Rush Hour trilogy. After skyrocketing to one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, Tucker stepped back from acting, citing financial and personal considerations. The IRS eventually entered the picture, reminding the public that even comedic geniuses need financial discipline. At 52, Chris Tucker remains a figure beloved for his comedic gifts. His story offers a lesson in the importance of long-term planning. Even a decade-defining star can find himself in financial trouble if he's not prepared for the future. Willie Nelson, born on April 29, 1933 in Abbott, Texas, stands as a country music legend whose road-weary voice and heartfelt songwriting shaped an entire genre. By the 1970s, he was a key figure in the outlaw country movement, releasing hits like On the Road Again and Always on My Mind. He sold millions of records, won multiple Grammys, and built a legacy that stretched well beyond music, dabbling in acting and writing. Yet in the 1990s, Nelson's well-publicized tax troubles threatened to strip him of everything. He managed to pay off the IRS by recording new albums and playing numerous shows, becoming a symbol of resilience. At 90, Nelson continues performing, beloved by fans who see him not just as a country music icon, but as proof that perseverance and creativity can overcome financial disaster. His journey also highlights a crucial truth. No star is immune to government scrutiny and the importance of transparent financial management. Randy Quaid, born on October 1st, 1950, in Houston, Texas, earned critical acclaim in the 1970s and 1980s, memorable for films like The Last Detail, 1973, and his comedic turn in National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983. But in the 2000s, Quaid's life took a strange turn. Legal troubles, allegations of unpaid hotel bills, and property damage led him and his wife into a kind of self-imposed exile in Canada, attempting to escape arrest warrants. Now 73, Quaid's legacy is overshadowed by these controversies. A far cry from the respected character actor he once was. His fall from grace suggests that fame can flip on its head if personal issues spin out of control. Larry King, born on November 19, 1933 in Brooklyn, New York, became a broadcasting titan, hosting Larry King Live on CNN from 1985 to 2010. He interviewed over 30,000 guests, from world leaders to Hollywood stars. He grew iconic with his trademark suspenders and friendly, yet straightforward interviewing style. While not typically associated with financial ruin, King's legacy fits our narrative as it reveals how a long-standing career might mask quieter struggles. King faced financial challenges earlier in his life. He declared bankruptcy in 1978 before finding stardom on CNN. He proved that one could rebound from nothing to become one of television's most recognizable figures. When he passed on January 23, 2021, due to sepsis resulting from COVID-19 complications, he left behind a legacy not just as an interviewer, but as a symbol of reinvention and survival. Janice Dickinson, born February 15, 1955, often dubbed the world's first supermodel, stormed the fashion world in the 70s and 80s, becoming a familiar face on countless magazine covers. Yet Dickinson's career faced serious obstacles later on. Personal struggles, legal disputes, and attempts at reality TV fame painted a complicated picture. At 68, she's remembered for blazing trails in modeling, but also grappling with financial ups and downs that challenged her earlier successes. Her story begs the question, how does one adapt when an industry built on youth and novelty moves on to fresh faces? Mike Tyson, born June 30th, 1966 in Brooklyn, New York, was once the most feared boxer in the world. Becoming the youngest heavyweight champion at 20, his early career was a whirlwind of knockout victories and unprecedented earnings. Yet Tyson's personal and legal troubles cast a long shadow. A 1992 conviction for rape sent him to prison, derailing his career. By the time he made comebacks in the mid-1990s, the aura of invincibility was gone, though he regained titles briefly. He earned hundreds of millions, but also lost most of it through lavish spending, poor management, and legal issues. Now 57, Tyson has reinvented himself yet again, venturing into acting, hosting a successful podcast, and becoming an unlikely figure of modern cultural relevance. His narrative shows that losing everything doesn't mean your story ends. Sometimes it's just the start of a new chapter. Nicole Eggert, born January 13, 1972, in Glendale, California, became a household name in the 90s as Summer Quinn on Baywatch. She transitioned from a child actress, Charles in Charge, to a primetime star known worldwide. Yet when Baywatch ended, Eggert found that high-profile roles were harder to come by. She experimented with reality television, appearing on Splash, 2013, and Botched, 2015, reminding audiences of her past stardom. Now 51, Eggert's path shows how challenging it can be to maintain financial stability once a defining role disappears. The fate of a 90s beach icon turned reality TV participant illuminates the uphill climb that comes after the sun sets on early success. Dionne Warwick, born December 12, 1940, in East Orange, New Jersey, is a legendary singer whose hits like Walk On By and I Say a Little Prayer have become timeless classics. Working closely with Burt Bacharach and Hal David, her voice captured the sentiments of generations. Although she enjoyed immense success, Warwick, too, faced financial hardships. She declared bankruptcy in 2013, citing mismanagement and tax issues. At 83, Warwick continues to perform and remains involved in philanthropic work, showing that even legends with decades of hits behind them can encounter financial strife. Her saga highlights the vulnerability that lurks beneath the surface of show business, and that survival often hinges on adaptability and continued reinvention. Terrell Owens, born December 7, 1973, in Alexander City, Alabama, made headlines as one of the NFL's most talented and controversial wide receivers. Throughout a 15-season career, he played for teams like the San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and Dallas Cowboys. On the field, he demonstrated otherworldly athleticism. Off the field, he stirred controversy with public feuds and flamboyant end-zone celebrations. Despite earning enormous sums, Owens struggled financially post-retirement, grappling with child support issues, property foreclosures, and ill-fated investments. At 50, he remains a figure who exemplifies the roller coaster nature of professional sports wealth. What happens to athletes after the cheering stops? Owens's story speaks loudly. If income isn't carefully managed and ego kept in check, fortune can slip away swiftly. As we've seen, these stories span the worlds of film, music, sports, and media. They're not just cautionary tales. They're windows into how fame, fortune, and downfall can intertwine. But what about the broader cultural and historical context? These celebrities rose in eras marked by different media landscapes. The 80s, 90s, and early 2000s were times of booming video rentals, massive record sales, sky-high salaries, and explosive growth in professional sports revenues. The internet and social media hadn't yet reshaped fame's contours. Without quick access to personal branding tools or direct fan interactions, these stars relied heavily on agents, managers, and accountants. Some entrusted their entire financial futures to people who didn't have their best interests in mind. Others simply couldn't imagine a future without easy money pouring in. The early 21st century brought an economic shift. Traditional forms of entertainment revenue fragmented, piracy cut into profits, streaming changed the rules of royalties, sponsorship deals and merchandising became more critical than ever. For athletes, shorter career spans due to injury risk demanded careful, long-term planning. But caution was often ignored when big checks were written on the assumption that fame would never fade. Some of these stars became entangled in legal trouble, not only due to frivolous spending, but also due to misunderstandings about taxes, a relentless pitfall in the entertainment industry. Willie Nelson's tax woes were legendary, but he managed to channel his creative energy into projects that allowed him to pay back the IRS. Many others were less fortunate, losing homes, properties, and prized possessions in auctions and forced sales. Cultural perceptions also shifted over time. In previous decades, financial downfall was seen as scandalous, with tabloids feasting on stories of auctions and repossessions. Today, fans and the public sometimes respond with sympathy, understanding that artists are often pressured into lavish lifestyles and encircled by people who benefit from their ignorance. Documentaries and exposés have pulled back the curtain on the predatory nature of some entertainment contracts and the manipulative tactics of certain advisors. Viewers now often ask, who really bears responsibility for the meltdown of a star's fortune? Is it all on the celebrity, or is it a systemic issue? As you listen to these stories, consider the human element behind the headlines. Nicolas Cage buying castles might have come from a desire to invest uniquely or stand apart from peers. MC Hammer's enormous entourage may have been a desire to lift others out of poverty. Toni Braxton's bankruptcy filings might have stemmed from unfair recording contracts. Kim Basinger's infamous real estate misadventure may have come from misguided ambition to forge a personal legacy in a small town. Gary Coleman's struggles highlight how vulnerable child stars can be, often powerless to control the destiny of their fortunes. Dennis Rodman's flamboyance concealed deep personal struggles, and perhaps money was simply a means to assert individuality in a rigid sports world. Mike Tyson's staggering losses speak of trauma, exploitation, and a young man thrust into wealth he never learned to handle. Each story is layered, complex, and reveals truths about the interplay between personal decisions, external pressures, and the unpredictable nature of celebrity income streams. An intriguing question: why do we, as an audience, remain captivated by these falls from grace? Perhaps it's because they feel like modern morality tales, showing us that no amount of money can fully insulate someone from human error, vulnerability, and changing times. Or maybe we watch because we subconsciously envy their past success and feel a strange relief in seeing that no one, no matter how admired, is perfect. But beyond schadenfreude lies a more valuable lesson. These stories can encourage personal reflection. Are we making sound financial decisions in our own lives? Are we mindful of the company we keep and the advisors we trust? There's also a redemptive element to many of these narratives. Nicolas Cage still appears in films, sometimes earning critical acclaim. MC Hammer uses his platform to engage in tech and mentorship. Toni Braxton still performs and evokes strong emotional connections with fans. Pamela Anderson dedicates herself to activism. Willie Nelson still tours, singing about life and love, and remains a cultural elder statesman. Mike Tyson's podcast has given him a second life as a philosopher of sorts, sharing hard-earned wisdom. This resilience is inspiring, teaching us that losing everything doesn't equate to losing oneself. Reinvention is possible. The entertainment industry has a short memory. One new hit movie, one breakout performance, one viral moment can relaunch a star's relevance. And in a world more connected than ever, reinvention can happen on social media platforms, podcasts, or streaming services that didn't exist when these celebrities were first making their fortunes. As we near the end of our deep dive, consider what might happen next. Some of these figures have passed on, leaving legacies that future generations will interpret differently. Others continue to fight financial battles, personal demons, or legal disputes even now. New revelations may emerge as journalists and historians uncover documents or conduct interviews that shine fresh light on old stories. The narrative of a celebrity's life is never truly complete, as long as they remain a figure in the public's imagination. Before we wrap up, remember the importance of engagement. If you find these stories intriguing, if you sympathize with the struggles, or are shocked by the missteps, let us know. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Which of these celebrities' journeys surprises you the most? Do you think we can learn something from their experiences? Do you believe that the entertainment system should change to better protect artists financially? Perhaps you have your own theories on why it's so common for stars to lose everything. By liking, subscribing, and commenting, you become part of a community that discusses these cultural phenomena. You help ensure more content that sheds light on the human realities behind the cameras, microphones, and stadium lights. We'll be here, continuing to delve into the complex worlds of fame and fortune, the rises and falls, the heartbreak and triumph. As we close this chapter, think about what might await in a future episode. Maybe we'll explore the psychological toll of sudden wealth, the intricate web of advisors and lawyers who shape a celebrity's destiny, or the changing face of fame in the digital age. The world of entertainment is an endless tapestry of compelling narratives. Today we focused on those who lost everything, but their stories didn't end there. Some found new callings, reinvented themselves, or simply carried on with quieter dignity. This cycle of rise, fall, and rise again is woven into the very fabric of Hollywood and celebrity culture, reminding us that nothing is permanent, neither fortune nor failure. Thank you for staying with us through this deep exploration. If you enjoyed unveiling these layered human stories behind the headlines, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Join the conversation in the comments. Which celebrity's journey resonates with you the most, and why? Do these stories change how you view fame and money? We'd love to hear your perspective. And don't forget to keep an eye out for our next deep dive. We'll be back with more revelations, more stories, and more reasons to question what we think we know about success in the spotlight. Until then, take care, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.